Being a follower of Christ means that many times our friends, our family, coworkers, loved ones, they are not going to understand or approve of the things that we do or the things that we say. Well, this can be a temptation that we would kind of follow what they're saying or what they're thinking instead of following what God would have us do. This is known as fear of man or love of man. We're more concerned with what they think than what God would say. Well, this is not anything new. This is, if you go all the way back to the early chapters of the book of Genesis, you're going to see that there would be temptation for a guy named Noah to follow what everybody else would say instead of following what God would say. So what happens in Genesis chapter 6, here's something starting in verse 11. Now the earth was corrupt in God's sight, and the earth was filled with violence. And God saw the earth, and behold, it was corrupt, for all flesh had corrupted their way on the earth. All flesh, just evil all the time, right? And God said to Noah, I have determined to make an end of all flesh, for the earth is filled with violence through them. Behold, I will destroy them with the earth. Make yourself an ark of gopher wood. He's going to go on to give details of what that ark is to look like. So God's telling Noah, I'm going to destroy everything, all flesh, and so I want you to make an ark, and you're going to have you, your wife, your kids, and their wives, and 2 of these different animals, and then a few other animals for sacrifices and things like that. And you're all going to go on this ark, and I'm going to flood the earth and destroy it all. Well, people would have thought this was pretty silly at that time because we have no account of rain at this point on the earth. We have no account of really the idea of a flood. And to go along further, probably where Noah was at would be more of kind of a desert. So for him to build a gigantic ark to make sure that he would be safe and these animals would be safe for when God would flood the earth would be nonsense. It would be foolishness to the rest of the people. What can we learn from Noah? He listens to God's voice. He was a righteous man who followed after the Lord. And even though the temptation was great to give in to what everybody else was probably saying and mocking him, he still was faithful to follow the Lord. Friends, this has to be us. Even if the world doesn't understand, even if those people who are not followers of Jesus, they don't understand why we do what we do, why we say what we say, we still need to be faithful to follow God. Let's worry about what he thinks and not what everybody else is thinking. Have a good day.